32 teens in 32 days. Welcome back, everybody. This is Tex from The Backups. I am here joined with Seb Burnett, my beautiful co-host. Seb, go ahead and say hello to everybody.
Guten Morgen.
Well, it's not morning. Technically, it is 1:24, unless you're on the West Coast, which then it would be 10:24, so I guess that still makes sense. Anyways, what's going on, everybody? Great show for you today. We are going to be talking about my spirit animal. That's right. My spirit animal is not an animal. It's the Tennessee Titans. I don't even know where I was going with that. But let's go ahead and talk about the 2018 Tennessee Titans, where they stand, and what they need to do. Seb, do you have anything for us today? Were you prepared at all?
Yeah, a bitch, please. Was I prepared? Tex, if there's one of us that's not going to be prepared, it's you. All right? Don't even try that. Yeah. The Titans come into this with the 25th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft. Their season was, I don't know how to say it, confusing. I would say it was very up and down, and it was kind of like watching a high school football team run the wishbone pretty much the entire season. Or as Malarkey, who just the name itself should tell you everything, called it an exotic smash mouth. Yeah. They went 9-7. They went to the playoffs, and then they lost to Buffalo, right?
That was after having a pretty impressive showing and surprising everybody against the Kansas City Chiefs to win at home, which the Chiefs don't play very well, in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So just in general. But I thought their postseason was pretty impressive. The fact that they won, even though I didn't really expect them to go far.
And it was pretty controversial, though. I mean, the fumble that was, that they even reviewed, and it was very obviously not, and then it was just bullshit, but whatever.
Well, the NFL is bullshit. I'm more of a fan of the real football, which is soccer. But
we should start a soccer podcast. There you go. That'll be good. You know what? And then we can have gay porn stars on all the time, because those are the only people that like soccer. Got them.
Well, so you would be my permanent guest.
Hey, they don't call me Harry Hang Down for nothing, buddy.
I
just came up with that name too.
Harry Hang Down. That was a good little segue right there.
Yeah. So for this upcoming, I feel like something they were missing was an edge rusher, like a very solid. They have some on there, and but I feel like they need a go-to guy. They need a guard, just because. I mean, I feel like the more you can shore up that offensive line and give Mariota time and Derrick Henry room to run, the better that team is going to be, especially in that division. I feel like that's something you need. And then I feel like cornerback is actually a top 3 need as well for that team. I mean, Adoree Jackson, I feel like, had a good year out of USC. This was his rookie season. He was picked in the first round last year. But I feel like pairing another cornerback up with him would be a really good idea, just considering the direction that that the AFC South is heading at this point, with the Colts, the Jaguars, and the Texans. Namely, I'm talking about the Texans in terms of the fearing their wide receivers. But I feel like with Mike Vrabel coming in, maybe he has something in mind, but I really feel like that they're going to go BPA at this point, which stands for best player available. Mel Kiper has them going running back. I don't know. No.
Well, Kiper is, I don't know if he's actually alive anymore. I think he's just maybe a zombie, because some of the stuff that he says just really makes you shake your head and wonder if he has a brain. So no, they won't be going running back in the first, Mel. That's dumb. But yeah.
100%. I don't see that happening at all. There are a couple of players that I think that they're going to maybe look for at the back end of the first round are Yair Alexander, the cornerback out of Louisville. If you watched the combine this past weekend, I feel like he had a really great workout. He showed his speed and fluidity in the pass defense game, and I feel like that's something that they're going to look for. and possibly go there in the first round. And then also Lorenzo Carter, edge rusher and outside linebacker from UGA. Hello. Really, really helped himself this past weekend. He set the broad jump record for outside for linebackers. He's explosive. He's very good. And I feel like he's brought himself up to the back end of that first round. And I feel like that's going to be a solid pick for them there at 25th. What about you, bud?
Yeah, I mean, so I don't know how influential Vrabel was in terms of, the draft picks of recent memory for Houston. I know it was kind of out of necessity that they traded up to get Watson, and it turned out to be a great thing. But, Vrabel's got his defensive background, and honestly, he's kind of a relatively new coach in terms of just time coaching. He didn't spend that much time going, up the ladder through his coaching career because he was a player. And so, for me, I don't really look for any big flashy moves. They have a total of 7 picks. Their 7th round pick is a conditional pick with the Chiefs. I think they're going to end up losing that. But it's a 7th round pick anyway, so it really doesn't matter. In terms of needs, in recent memory, you look at the Dallas Cowboys, and even, the Tennessee Titans were both considered to have one of the strongest offensive lines in the NFL. And here it is, one of their needs now is an offensive guard, offensive tackle for the line. I think doing that is obviously going to help your center, your franchise player, your centerpiece of the franchise, in Mariota, give him a little bit more time to have his speedy wide receivers get more deeper in their routes, and give Derrick Henry a little bit better of a push when running the ball. But I honestly am right there with you. I think best player available is the route to go. If you are the Tennessee Titans this year, you have more than a few needs, and most of them are on the defensive side. And so when you look at the defensive players that are going to be available, I'd say the first 12 to 15 picks of the NFL draft, 80 to 90% of those could be offensive players. But once you get out of that 12 or 15 range, in the back half of the draft, that's where the defensive player, is going to, the depth of this year's draft is really going to show. So I look for Vrabel to find, if you can call it, a diamond in the rough, just somebody that's going to fall into his lap at 25, that's going to be a plug and play piece of that defense. And, they're not really hurting for picks this year. Like I said, they have 6 picks, and they haven't made any trades or anything like that. So my open assessment is it's going to be on the defense. We just have to get an idea, because this is such an early and young coaching staff, of where he's going to go on draft day, because we're not really hearing much out of the Tennessee camp, for good reason, right? I mean, like I said, it's his first year, and he's probably trying to get an idea of where the frickin' bathroom is, at the Titans facility. So I know that the staff around him is also a little bit green. While they did go into the playoffs, they kind of did have a little bit of an identity crisis. It is not out of the ordinary in the NFL for a new coach to come in and make instant changes and drastically turn around a team. I think this team played worse than they should have last year based off of their roster. So hopefully when Vrabel comes in, he can, make a few minor changes, add some really good pieces in the draft, and instantly turn that 9-7 team to possibly a 10 or a 12 win team in 2018. So. Yeah,
and that's another reason that I was talking about them possibly going BPA, is the fact that, if you look at the brass tacks of the team, is, it's a relatively strong roster, in my opinion. They have good pieces and, decent pieces pretty much everywhere. The most interesting thing about the 2017 Tennessee Titans season, to me personally, was the fact that once they really let Mariota open the field up and, be Marcus Mariota, let him make reads and do a little, PRO, which, that's the craze now, is everyone talking about PRO. once they let them do that, like it really opened up that offense. And I think Mike Vrabel is a smart enough individual to realize and set the offense more towards Marcus Mariota's talents, because Tex and I both agree, I feel like, that Mariota is very talented, and in the right system, he can do pretty much whatever you need him to do. I mean, legitimately, he threw himself a touchdown pass in the playoffs. So what more do you want from the guy? Their season, their schedule next year is kind of rough. It's got some tough games, but the biggest thing I'm looking at next season is just that division possibly taking the next step with Andrew Luck coming back, Jacksonville Jaguars being young, hungry, and adding more pieces, and then of course the Texans, and if Deshaun Watson stays healthy. Good luck, everybody.
Well, here's the thing: the foundation was laid with Deshaun Watson. If you look at him last year, he wanted to pass first. He was not necessarily, that running scared RG3 type of player, in my opinion. I thought Deshaun Watson showed a ton of intelligence, and Vrabel coming from that team and seeing how good that type of quarterback can be and the type of offense that was built around him. I look for Vrabel, who again is a defensive-minded coach. He played, I think it was almost 15 years in the NFL. And I look for him to really play towards Mariota's strengths. You said right there that RPO, that run pass option, that is perfect. That is exactly what Mariota needs to do. And he needs to have that flexibility. And I think that they're definitely going to do that. They've spent a lot of recent draft picks high on offensive players. If you look at Mariota, if you look at Derrick Henry, even Corey Davis last year, wide receiver. So they didn't get much production out of him. Look for them to address the defense, to help his team out on the defense, to make the offensive side of the ball a little bit less stressful and have a really good 2018. But I want to hear from you guys. This is what we thought. There's plenty of Tennessee Titan fans out there that hit us up all the time on our social media. So, Seb, go ahead and tell them where they can find us, man.
Yeah, you can find us on Instagram at Instagram.com/thebackups with a Z, on Twitter, Twitter.com/thebackups, and that's a Z as well, and www.thebackups.com. You can find us on iTunes or Apple Podcasts, as they call it now. We're on Stitcher, we're on Google Play, and guys, give us a subscribe on Apple Podcasts. Do it, and if you do, I promise you that Tex Glisson will send you a dick pic.
Yeah.
And it'll be glorious. You'll love it.
I hate you.
I know, buddy.
I was just about to say, you can find Seb on Grindr. But you got there first.
I definitely did. Great show today, guys. And keep updated on our What the Fuck series. And we'll be bringing you more every day. And we're going to be trying to do 32 and 32-ish. Ish, y'all motherfuckers. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to the Backups Podcast. Follow us on Instagram, find us on iTunes, and visit the website at www.thebackups.com with a Z for more.